What's going on, Broncos country? It's your boy A&J, and we're back with some more Broncos talk, as promised from a previous video. And man, it just seems to get better and better as far as the news that we're getting regarding the injury report. I don't know how much better it could really get at this point because, of course, Luke Wattenberg has been activated. He's back in practice. Now, I want to be clear that the names that I'm about to talk about, there's no actual guarantee, especially as of this recording, that any of these names are going to play, including Wattenberg himself. But one bit of good news that we did get yesterday is that Alex Forsyth was in practice yesterday, so he'll likely be ready to go if need be. And of course, if Wattenberg isn't there, we've still got Sam Mustipher, but it seems as if signs are pointing in the right direction for Wattenberg amongst others. And to me, I think that's tremendous, especially given that the Broncos are already the best offensive lineman in the best offensive line in the NFL, and of course, getting Wattenberg back just increases that so much more, especially for the fact that we've got a pretty tough defensive tackle group coming into town in the New England Patriots, and I just feel like that's going to give the Broncos that much more of an edge, along with the other names I'm about to bring up here. But this was something that I feel like was absolutely huge. Of course, when the injury came up back a couple of months ago, it was said that if he were to return, it would likely be for this particular game, and here we are. I mean, we're literally just a couple of days away from the AFC Championship, and it's looking pretty good for Luke to be ready to go. I love the idea of him being back, especially because that just re-solidifies the offensive line we had going in to, I believe, the Washington game, which I believe was his first game out. I gotta look back on that one. But just having Luke there again, to me, I don't think enough can be said about how important that is. Forsyth has definitely done a fantastic job in his place, and of course, Mustipher, when needed, is every bit as good as well. But having the main guy there to be exactly that, the main guy at center, I just don't know if you can say enough for what that actually means for the Denver Broncos, especially going into this matchup with the New England Patriots, especially with Jarrett Stidham under center. I mean, at the rate things are going, we're about to have pretty much all the first teamers back. And this absolutely has me hyped for Sunday. So, with that in mind, we definitely got to talk about the receiver, specifically Troy Franklin, and of course, Pat Bryant. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate, I don't know necessarily that these guys are going to be playing, but things seem to be going in the right direction. Franklin was a participant at practice, and I think that's definitely a good thing, but we'll see if he'll be ready to go. Same could be said for Pat Bryant, but I guess if I had to say which one I felt like was a little bit more likely to suit up on Sunday against the Patriots, it's probably going to be Pat Bryant here. I mean, I don't know all the details as far as Franklin's hamstring injury, but if he's even remotely, I would say at least three quarters of himself, that's going to be better than what really a lot of teams have to work with. I would even argue it might be better than what the New England Patriots core of receivers has to offer, even for as well as they've performed at times. But none of them are really game breakers. And if nothing else, I think we're starting to see, or at least there was a point where we were starting to see both Bryant and Franklin develop into set game breakers. Of course, Franklin has to get better with catching the ball in a lot of ways, but I think Sunday would be a great time for that to start, provided that he's actually out on the field. But if both of them are out there, then it's going to be really, really tough because, again, to me, the New England secondary really isn't all that strong. They've definitely got some ballers out there, but to think that they're actually going to contain our receiving core, I just don't know if I see that being the case. But it's going to be an interesting matchup, and I don't say all this to just dismiss the Patriots as a competitor. They're going to make it as tough on the Broncos as they possibly can. And I feel like Mike Vrabel, along with Josh McDipshit, they're going to definitely scheme to the best of their abilities. But with the way that they are as constructed right now, I'm just not sure if the matchup is going to work very well in New England's favor. But that's what Sunday's for, and we're going to find out how all that works out. I'm just incredibly confident in what we have to work with, especially with both of these guys back in the fold. I will say I wouldn't be mad if Brandon Johnson suited up, but we'll see how all that works out going into the weekend. And of course, this is the one we really want to talk about here. I think this is the one that all of us here in Broncos country probably look forward to more than anything else as far as the injury report was concerned. And that is, of course, the return of J.K. Dobbins. And it feels like this one, again, not guaranteed that he's going to play either, but it feels like this one is looking pretty good as it stands right now. He was a full participant in practice yesterday, and I'm going to imagine that's going to be the case today and probably even tomorrow, which I feel like are going to be more walkthroughs than anything else. But I feel like all signs are pointing up for the Broncos offense, especially if we get JK back. Now, it's not to say that RJ Harvey or Jaleel McLaughlin haven't been good as far as the running game is concerned. It could be better, but it's also because of the fact that Peyton seems to go away from those two for whatever the reason may be. And of course, Bo Nix was actually doing a bulk of the running, especially in the divisional round matchup with the Buffalo Bills. That can't be a thing, and I imagine that Stidham will see his opportunity for scrambles and will look to pick up first downs with his legs when need be. But to me, I feel like you got to rely on the running backs, and if J.K. Dobbins is there, he's definitely going to change that in spades, and there's just no denying that, no matter how you slice that up. And of course, with that being the case, you got to think about the production as it stands. I mean, it went from going 4.8 yards per carry with Dobbins in the lineup to 4 yards per carry and with him out of it. And I know that doesn't sound like it's a significant difference, but that's the kind of thing that took the Broncos from 7th in the league to, I believe, 20th or 21st, something along those lines. And if that's the case, I feel like Dobbins being back has to be a welcome return, if nothing else. Especially given the fact that he has a post on his Instagram indicating that he's going to be ready to go on Sunday. So if all of those are, I guess, indicators of what to look forward to, I feel like the Broncos absolutely have it made, and it's going to be tough for me to imagine New England actually coming out on the winning side of this, on top of the fact that they're coming out here for fuck's sake. I mean, when have they actually won a playoff game in Denver? The answer to that is never. And I don't see that changing even with Jarrett Stidham at the helm. But as long as we got all the guys back, as mentioned, Luke Wattenberg, of course Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, along with J.K. Dobbins, and of course if we were able to get Drew Sanders back, that would be huge. Obviously we still got Dre Greenlaw doing his thing, and he'll be ready to go. But for me, I just am really getting to a point to where not only am I hyped, but I'm getting to be more and more confident little by little as we get closer to game time. But with that in mind, let me know what y'all think down below. Do y'all look forward to these names as I mentioned, especially JK coming back this weekend? You see them being an actual factor in the game? Let me know what y'all think down below. And of course, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Hit that notification bell. Also, keep in mind we'll be coming through with some NBA stuff here. If not today, look forward to that tomorrow. But either way, with that in mind, this has been your time with A&J, and I thank you for spending it with me.